So this is my lesson plan on sonnets that I did. For the first day, we had a do now, which is what is love and how can it be expressed in the form of writing, and also what is a sonnet. I went over with the students. I pulled it up on the smartboard. We went over their answers, and then I just was able to scroll down. We talked about what a sonnet was and what iambic pentameter was. We also talked about unstressed and stressed syllables, which is what I have an example. The first example I did for them, I showed them, shall I compare thee to a summer's day? I was just showing them a little bit of the iambic pentameter. And as we went down through the rest of the examples, we were able to also show more iambic pentameter and its parts. That writing at the bottom, when in disgrace with fortune and men's eyes, was actually an example that one of the students did, and each student was able to go up to the smartboard and do an example and show the unstressed and stressed syllables, the iambic pentameter in the line. I further scrolled down to history of sonnets. We talked about the Elizabethan period, sonnet forms, which is Petrarchan sonnet, Spenserian sonnet, and Shakespearean sonnet, as well as their rhyme schemes. And then we also talked about the different sonneteers. I talked about their works. And as I was scrolling down, I gave each student enough time to be able to copy the notes. So as I was scrolling, I would probably stop there, like on a page or something. And once I was talking about Sir Philip Sidney, I would say, oh, let me know when you get to the bottom. But I will continue to talk. And these little notes that I had was just something to help pinpoint something else that I was elaborating on. It was to give me a starting point, but it was enough for the students to write down. It gave them enough time. Talked about William Shakespeare. After that, we did get into the group so they can work together. And I did have sonnets that they worked on in their groups. For the next do now, which was a couple of days later, this was sonnet 35. What we did, we talked about how to interpret a sonnet. I actually had the students come up to the board and break this sonnet down. I asked them what words gave them, examples, what helped them with imagery and different things like that. What I liked about being able to do this assignment on the smartboard and with Word was that they could highlight things like that to say, oh, covetize or contentment. And I like the fact they can do that, complain, or when they said greedy. The students seem to have a really good time to be able to do things like that. After that, we continue about reading the sonnet. So I talked about how to break it down, how to go into it, what if it was based on the rhyme scheme, how to be able to convey what is being said in that sonnet. Once again, they broke into groups, and then we also did a group assignment. We went through other sonnets like William Wordsworth, and then sonnets like Sonnet 58, when I would have the students come up to the board and they would break it down. They would do the iambic pentameter, they would do the slashes and stressed and unstressed syllables, and then once again they seem to love to be able to highlight things. So they would highlight, oh, forbid was something that made me really look at it, or when it said I am to wait, I am to wait, or your pleasure. They would highlight certain things, and I think that gave them liberty to that. We also worked on other sonnets, such as Sonnet 27, which is actually one of my favorite sonnets, and then also Sonnet 116. Had I thought about it, I probably would have done this in PowerPoint Word, or could have and presented it. However, I don't think that it would have engaged the students as much, and I don't think that they would have been able to highlight because I put it up on Word. They had all the amenities to highlight or write and scribble on there as much as they wanted to. And so with that, that was my lesson plan, and I thought that it was a good idea to do that. So that is all. Thank you for listening to my lesson plan on sonnets.